Invasive ants are non-native species that spread aggressively beyond their natural range and disrupt local ecosystems. They outcompete native ants for resources, prey on native wildlife, and cause significant ecological and economical damage. Today, we're looking into 3 examples of these intruders and their worldwide impacts. Starting with the red imported fire ant. The red imported fire ant, or Solenopsis invicta, are a highly aggressive invasive species that originated from South America. They have made their way across the globe and have taken over USA and China. And the most worrying part for me is they are now in Australia. They are known for their large visible mounds and their painful sting that can cause allergic reactions. Their aggressive foraging behaviour allows them to outcompete native ant species for resources, hence they disturb local ecosystems. They also prey on native wildlife, which leads to population declines. Along with this, their presence also damages agriculture and can create significant economic burdens due to control efforts and medical treatments. Next up, we have the worldwide super colony, known as Argentine ants. Argentine ants are also native to South America and have become the world's most widespread and invasive ant species. They form massive super colonies and displace native ant species through sheer numbers. This leads to declines in native insect populations, hence affects animals that rely on these insects for food. Additionally, they invade food from homes and buildings, making them a nuisance for humans and causing economic damage due to pest control costs. The reason for their large scale is they work with each other and connect and intertwine their colonies together when they come across each other in the wild. Pretty amazing, right? Finally, we have the yellow crazy ants. Originating from Southeast Asia, yellow crazy ants have since spread to many tropical and subtropical regions around the world, mainly through human activities such as trade and transportation. Like Argentine ants, they also form expansive supercolonies, which allow them to outcompete native species. Their presence is particularly devastating on island ecosystems, where they prey on native fauna such as bird eggs and hatchlings. Now that you have an understanding of just how damaging invasive ants are, it is important that we all play our part in stopping these intruders before it's too late. Okay, for something a bit different, I've decided to create a speech on the issue of red imported fire ants in Australia. If you haven't already subscribed, then please do so, as this took me ages to create. Enjoy. There are 16,000 species of ants that live all around the world. These ants are extremely important as they help maintain ecological balance and biodiversity. However, there is one species causing chaos wherever they go, the red imported fire ant. After arriving in Australia in 2001, these tiny terrors have spread from Brisbane all the way down to Sydney following a recent detection in January 2024. With their ferocious appetite and venomous stinger, these ants pose serious impacts towards native flora and fauna, agriculture, and even humans. Therefore, the invasive and aggressive red imported fire ants should be exterminated across Australia immediately before irreversible damage is done. Fire ants cause havoc wherever they go. Thus, they have seriously disrupted our native flora, fauna, and ecosystems. These unwelcome intruders can eat almost anything, from tiny insects to a full cow. With projected population declines of up to 95% of native frogs, along with 69% of reptiles, fire ants' swarming hostile behaviour could wipe out existing food chains and threaten the survival of many native species. A fact sheet from the Invasive Species Council states that if left alone, over 95% of Australia is vulnerable to this infestation, and these pests would not only leave ecosystems beyond repair, but they would also cause extinction to a wide variety of animals due to biodiversity loss and ecological imbalance. Red imported fire ants cost the US $7 billion a year in agriculture alone. If left untouched, Australia will face similar impacts. These menacing ants are known to damage a wide range of agricultural plants, including fruits, vegetables, and grains. Initially, they were only causing damage to cane growers in southeast Queensland, but as the spread continues, more industries are being attacked. They have now reached New South Wales, our main wheat and barley growing state. This is extremely worrying, as these ants can impact crop production with losses up to 80%. Therefore, red imported fire ants could lose Australia one of its main food production lines. This loss would not only impact us domestically through economic losses, but it would also impact third world countries, as grain-based food production would decrease by 2%, which would result in shortages and an increase in price for grain-based products worldwide. Not only do they take out plants, but they also kill livestock. There has been numerous reports of fire ants in the US taking out vulnerable cattle. If this were to start happening in our nation, it would drive prices up and further add to the increasing costs of living, which would leave Australians with an empty pocket and plunge them into economic despair. Red imported fire ants are taking over Australia one backyard at a time, and they not only impact our environment and agriculture, but they also pose several threats to humans. Due to their aggressive behaviour, painful sting, and allergic reactions, fire ants have killed almost 100 human beings. In the US alone, up to 60% of people in an area where fire ants inhabit are stung by these ants each year. This number is immense, and when stung with allergies, it can pose a serious threat and could cause up to 3,000 fatal anaphylactic reactions a year within Australia. Due to the species having the ability to spread up to 30 kilometres per year, it is likely that red imported fire ants are already at your doorstep without you knowing, so you better watch out. You might think, well, let's just get rid of them, but it's a lot harder than you think. This is due to a combination of abilities, including colony structure, fierce behaviour, adaptability, reproductive potential, and their resistance to pesticides. Their colonies can even float during floods on an ant raft. There lies the question: can we eradicate this pest? Well, of course. However, the cost in doing so will be immense, even estimated as being up to $600 million. Despite this, if fire ants were to fully spread across Australia, it would potentially cost $45 billion, which would completely dwarf the cost of eradication and potentially force our country into bankruptcy. Just imagine going to the park for a family picnic. You all take a seat on a nice grid of grass, and before long, your very own 3-year-old child has hundreds of fire ants swarming up her leg and stinging her. This could very well be the case for many Australian families if the spread of this invasive species is left alone. So I call to you, the people and government of Australia, to help rid the invasive and aggressive fire ants from our shores, for the good of our nation, while we still have a chance. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.